Hey, what's up, guys? It's Renaldo here. So, this video is going to focus on yet another misstep by Minister John Steenhuisen and his department. Now, this time, his chief of staff sent an inappropriate email to the Director General, the Deputy Director General, and the head of the Department for Agriculture. And the reason that this email was eventually found out is because in the email chain, she responded, I think, to the initial person, and then you can see all the previous emails, and then this unfortunate statement by her came out. And I'll give you the context of all of this. But what is important to note here is the minister and his department has made it clear that farmers or unions or groups that are concerned and would like to have a discussion with him or his department is more than welcome to come. He said that his door is always open. And then this is the type of response that these people get, not directly to their faces, but behind their backs, which I would argue is, of course, a lot worse. Now, this is also just on the back of John Steenhuisen and his department getting a snort clap by the High Court in how they've delayed the rollout of the vaccines for the foot and mouth disease outbreak, and how months ago already this could have been allowed, and then we might have been on top of this foot and mouth disease outbreak. But unfortunately, this is not the case. So it seems arrogance is once again running rampant in that department, which seems to have been the case from when John Steenhuisen became the Minister of Agriculture. What I find fascinating is that he's put together this dream team of consultants, and he never meets with these consultants. And he even got rid of one of the most prominent people in that grouping of people that could assist, which is clearly just a demonstration that John has been captured by the people within the department. You know, the same people that gave terrible advice to the ANC ministers when they were there. It seems that John would rather listen to these people than the actual experts, the farmers, the unions, and the interest groups. You know, because apparently John knows more about farming than all of these people combined. Now, what exactly went down and what was said? Well, let's start right at the beginning. This email made its way onto social media. Now, I've hidden the email addresses because of the Poppy Act, but what you can see here, it is from the FMD Response South Africa to Yana LaRue, who is the Chief of Staff for John Steenhuisen in the Department of Agriculture. And as you can see here, he says, "Dear Yana, I hope this email finds you well. Please see the attached letter for the minister. I look forward to hearing from you. Yours sincerely, Andrew." Nothing funny, nothing untowards. There's this attachment that you can see here that I will share with you, because let's do this according to the timeline. So just so that you know, the FMD Response SA team is a steering committee, and they are governed by a 7-person steering committee drawn from across the South African livestock value chain. Each member brings direct operational experience of the crises as farmers, scientists, consultants, and industry leaders. So, knowledgeable people. The committee provides strategic direction, ensures the accuracy of all published material, and is accountable for the integrity of the initiative. And these are the individuals: Stephen Butt, Georgie Miller, Nick Stubbs, you've got Andrew Morphy, you've got Jane Holiday, you've got Edgar Brotherton, and all of these people represent, as you can see, Just Milk Group. You've got Interlac South Africa, you've got Colborne Farming, and it goes on and on. But in essence, you can see that these people are quite knowledgeable, and they've even got a website that gives you a lot of information over here. So it's a reputable think tank, or a grouping of people. And the letter that they sent the minister was the following. If we can just zoom in here. It says, I'm not going to read it all, but let's just read the first couple of paragraphs and you'll get, the professionalism of it. It goes, Dear Minister Steenhuisen, request for engagement on South Africa's foot and mouth disease vaccination strategy. I write on behalf of FMD Response SA, a collective of farmers and industry stakeholders committed to finding common ground on South Africa's foot and mouth disease vaccination strategy. At the outset, we would like to acknowledge the work you and your department have undertaken to secure FMD vaccines from producers under challenging circumstances, as well as your broader efforts to confront this destructive disease. So it's very respectful, and then it just asks very clear questions. There's no insults, there's no attacks. You can pause it and you can read it yourself. Very respectful from respectful individuals and respected individuals. And then if I just bring it back to this email, considering everything that you've just seen and this email that was sent by Andrew and the FMD Response SA think tank, this was the response that his chief of staff then sent on to Ramasodi Muketsa, Siraje Dipepening, Emily Mohajane, and you can see it says DG and DDG, which is Director General and Deputy Director General, attached, just received for some amusement. That is the problem. For some amusement. We saw the letter, which was respectful. We saw the email, which was respectful. We saw the grouping of people and who they are, and they are respected and respectful. And attached, just received for some amusement. Regards, Jana Leroux, Chief of Staff to Minister Steenhuisen. Now, if you think this is fake, John has come out and acknowledged that in actual fact, it's real. He says, I note an email originating from a ministry staff member. It's not a ministry staff member, it's your chief of staff. The email was in bad taste and I have requested the person concerned to apologize to the respective parties. Now please note that Roman Kabanak was fired for a lot less and he was the chief of staff for John Steenhuisen before mainstream media smeared him so that he had to, the minister was forced by the DA to fire Roman Kabanak. We must continue to show mutual respect and always act in good faith. That's strange because, you went to court when you could have just allowed the farmers to vaccinate their herd, but instead you acted arrogantly, and even in that one video you said, well, they're going to learn, it's going to take months. And you had a smirk on your face like you knew better. But anyway, because it is only through collaboration that we can overcome major obstacles in the sector. Yeah, okay. And if you just want to look at the ratio over here, 273 comments versus 123 likes, that tells you everything you need to know. All right, so we have a grouping of people that in a respectful manner sent an email to the minister, and the only way that you can get to the minister is through his chief of staff. And then what his chief of staff did is laugh at that with the Director General, Deputy Director General, and the head of the Department of Agriculture. Now the question I have is, why is she so comfortable that she can send an email like that to these individuals within the department? Is this perhaps because that is the mood in the department, where if somebody sends a request, you just send it on the WhatsApp group or you send it to them via an email and you all laugh together? Because it kind of feels like this is how the department is being run, especially if you look at the history, the court case. If you look at what John Steenhuisen has said about Sai and Afri-MAGA and Donald Trump and all of these things, eventually you get to the point where this chief of staff is so comfortable to attack this grouping of people that were respectful. And you have to ask yourself, well, is this how John speaks to her and how the DG and the DDG and the HOD speak to one another when they in a caucus, when they in a closed meeting? Because it seems to be the case. If you as a chief of staff aren't scared of the Director General or the HOD, the head of the department, or the Deputy Director General, or your own minister, then there's issues there. And you should never ever be that comfortable with your minister if you are a chief of staff or with the other staff members in your department. Yes, you can be friendly and you can even be friends, but that is crossing a line. And the fact that she is so comfortable sending that out to these individuals tells you that there is this acceptance in the department that that is allowed and that she would not get into trouble. And I'm 100% convinced that if this didn't leak out, then it would not have been a situation where she had to apologize. The fact that she only has to apologize to me is very problematic, especially considering the precedent that John Steenhuisen set with Ramon Cabernac. Ramon Cabernac didn't have anything negative to say about farmers or people that are interested in assisting the department. No, they had to go years back to find completely out of context tweets and posts, and then the DA forced John to get rid of him. But in this case, Jana only needs to apologize for mocking farmers and people that are very passionate about farming and is very scared about what is happening with the foot and mouth disease outbreak. So how is that acceptable? And how is this not breaking news? I mean, have you seen this on any mainstream media outlet? I haven't, and this is already a day old. I mean, this was sent to me last night, and yet no mainstream media has covered it. And, don't crucify me if finally they do report on it, but as I'm making this video right now, I haven't seen one single mainstream media outlet report on this. Now, consider how much they reported on Ramon Cabernac, and then look at this scandal, and then you tell me whether or not it is as big or not. But anyway, here's the real crux of this video is John Steenhuisen has now gone from one balls up to the next. The White House, what he said over there, his personal finances, the DA's credit card, the court case, a bunch of videos in which he said like weird things about farmers and Sai and Afrikaners and Afri-MAGA and Donald Trump, and of course now this. And the question I have for Jordan Lewis and the DA is, what agreement do you have with John Steenhuisen? Because John Steenhuisen is causing you more votes than the ANC, the Freedom Front Plus, and any other opposition party out there combined. You are losing more votes because of John Steenhuisen than any other political party that is fighting with you or saying don't vote for the DA, rather vote for us. So the question I've got is, what's going on here? I mean, I know that the DA forced John Steenhuisen to step down as the leader because of the damage he was doing to the DA brand, but now he is one of the most prominent ministers and he is continuing to mess up and you are just keeping him there. Was it an agreement that he steps down as the leader but then you secure him his position as the Minister of Agriculture? Because I don't know how any other minister within the DA would be able to get away with what John Steenhuisen is getting away with. I mean, look at poor Dion George. The guy literally just said a thing here and there wrong and then went on too many overseas trips because he was that passionate about what he was doing, and then he was removed as the minister. But yet, here we've got Jordan Lewis that can attack the best performing minister, Pieter Groenewald, but he is completely blind when it comes to John Steenhuisen and what his department is doing. Now, if you think that I'm coming down too hard on John Steenhuisen, remember the minister is ultimately responsible for his department and the environment within the department. And the fact that his chief of staff is so comfortable, firstly, with him, let me rather not say what I want to say there. But secondly, the fact that she thinks it's acceptable to send that to the top people within that department with tongue-in-cheek joking about people that are passionate about agriculture and concerned about the foot and mouth disease outbreak, that tells me that that environment has been set by John Steenhuisen and everybody is just following along because the minister is the one that sets the tone. So ultimately, just another terrible situation for the Department of Agriculture, another terrible incident for John Steenhuisen. And if his chief of staff is not fired for this, then I don't know. I truly don't. It's not that I'm going out there wishing that she gets fired, but if you got that arrogance during a foot and mouth disease outbreak, you don't deserve to be there, because you don't understand how many people have lost their livelihoods because of this disease. You don't know how many farmers have gone bankrupt because of this. And all the while you fucking laugh at these people. Shame on you. You are an embarrassment to not only the department, but to the Democratic Alliance. And I just can't comprehend, and I'm getting angry now, and I think I should end the video. I don't understand why these people that work in this department can't put themselves in the farmers' shoes to understand what they are going through. People are committing suicide because of this outbreak, because they can't provide for their families. And you forward an email, tongue-in-cheek, laughing at organizations that actually care about what happens in the Department of Agriculture. Shame on you, Jana LaRue. Shame on you, John Steenhuisen. And shame on you for the Democratic Alliance for keeping this minister in that position when you know that he is not doing the job that he's supposed to be doing. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Smash the like button, share, become a member, subscribe, all of those things. Greatly appreciated. I'll catch you on the next one. Till later. Cheers and peace out.
You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say I went my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say I went my massacre. My massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say I went my massacre. My massacre.